Hello guys, and welcome to the BP Gaming Network, where we're playing Out of the Park Baseball 19 featuring our Oakland Athletics franchise. So this is our franchise that we started in 2018 and is still going on. We obviously took a bit of a break there during the holidays and so on, and we are now back and hoping to make some more videos as we continue with the journey. There's been, I guess I'll probably do a little recap just to show you guys where things are at so far. We just concluded the month of May. The team is in the worst position that you could think of. We've racked up some injuries, and we also made some, probably one trade, I believe, giving up one of our relief pitchers, the closer, just because we have too many closers, and we felt the need to make some moves there towards the end of May. So just going to walk you guys through where we're at. Let's take a look at, first of all, the schedule. So we played the last week of May from the 28th till the 31st, and things didn't go very well for us. We won just one game, lost three. This was a 4-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays. So clearly a lot needs to change if we're going to try and salvage this season. You could see we've racked up a lot of losses over the month of May. April wasn't as bad. But May things didn't work out as we were hoping they would. So, but what do? We'll just have to keep plugging along. This is the team page, so you could see the batting leaders and the pitching leaders. We still got Chris Davis is playing really well for our offense, leading the team in batting average as well as home runs with 14 home runs so far. He's also leading the team in runs batted in. Smolinski has got 3 stolen bases. We're not as aggressive when it comes to base running. That is one of our problems. I've tried to change our strategy to increase base running and to try to be more aggressive. So we'll see how that pans out over the next few weeks. Pitching wise, surprisingly enough, Chris Bassett and Andrew Triggs have been the mainstays for our starting rotation. They've pitched really well. Bassett is really leading the team in ERA with a 2.97, followed by Andrew Triggs with a 3.79 ERA. Bassett also has got 5 wins, leading the team in wins. And Sean Manai is the leader there for strikeouts and also for innings pitched. So that's kind of where things stand. Over the left here, you could see where we are in our division. We are last in our division. Which is very disappointing. I was hoping we could at least be somewhere in the 3rd spot, but that's currently being occupied by Los Angeles. So our division, we've got Houston as the leader, Texas second in the division, Los Angeles 3rd, Seattle 4th, and there we are. Oakland is at the bottom. If we take a look at the overall standings in the MLB by league, you can see how things shape up. So Oakland is 3rd best from the bottom. So we're 12th. That's 13th in the American League, and that means this is another rebuilding year, I guess. Which there's no illusions about that. We knew that we were in a rebuild. We were just hoping to play a little bit better. We were not trying to win our division, but we thought at least if we could be in that spot by this stage. But there's still a lot of baseball left to play. Overall, this is where everybody is at. See, Minnesota is leading the American League right now, followed by the Yankees, and then 3rd is the Astros. And then on the National League side, you've got the Dodgers leading the National League, followed by the Cubs, and the Mets in 3rd position. Phillies trying to catch up with the Mets there. So that's how things set up in the MLB. There's still all-star voting going on right now in the MLB. If we take a look at the voting counts, this is how they're shaping up for the starting pitchers. They've got several pitchers that are surprising, like Bartolo Colon in the running to be an all-star, or at least trying to get votes. Relief pitchers. Let's see who really stands out here. So again, you got Chris Hatcher there for the A's, who's not having a bad season. He's got a 0.7 WAR, which is not great, but if you compare him to the rest of the people here trying to get votes for the All-Star, he's faring pretty okay. So we're not going to go through the whole selection, or at least the run-ups or anything like that right now. The voting is still going on. We'll do a video and show you guys who the All-Stars were for this season. So we are now going to start. Maybe let's talk about some of the changes we've made. Let's take a look at some of the key transactions we've done so far. So we picked up Drew Hutchison. We claimed him off of waivers from Philadelphia. It was an obvious pick. I mean, we saw him on the waivers, and we thought, why not? He's a righty relief pitcher who can actually be a starter as well. He's got 3 pitches, fastball that is just above average, a slider that is well above average, and a changeup that's just average. His stuff is above average, but may struggle with his movement, but average control there. So he's a decent pitcher, and for what we were getting him for, he's still earning league minimum right now. And he is out of options, but given his ratings, I felt this was a no-brainer to pick him up. What else? Let's see. So Brett Anderson went into the 60-day DL, unfortunately. So he's out most likely for the season. He's out for at least almost 6 months. He wasn't really pitching that well anyway, so it's not a huge loss for us. So this is how our rotation looks like right now. We've still got Sean Manai as the number 1 ace there. So we're gonna move things around a little bit. We're gonna give Chris Bassett the helm because of how well he's performed over the last 2 months. We're also gonna move Andrew Triggs into the number 2 spot, and Sean Manai will occupy the number 3 spot. We got Kenneth Graveman in the number 4, and Ben Bracewell in that number 5 spot. So our pitching has been an issue for us. We've been struggling a lot with our pitching. As you can see, only Chris Bassett and Andrew Triggs and to a degree Sean Manai are pitching well for our starting rotation. For our relievers, we've got a few guys that are pitching okay. We've got Yasmiro Petit with a 2.76 ERA, Lou Trevino with a 2.82 ERA, and Chris Hatcher with a 2.50 ERA. And then we've got a few guys struggling, Daniel Colomb, Trevor Cahill, and Emilio Pagan, who's our closer, is also been struggling quite a bit. So we may have to make some changes in our bullpen just to try and solidify the bullpen. So we're going to give Drew Hutchison a few more shots. He's only played in 2 games. Came in relief situations where he only pitched for 1.2 innings in those 2 games. So I'm not too concerned so far. I think he can improve from there. Daniel Colomb, we expect a little bit better from him as a specialist. Where is this? So we'll take a look at his game log. So you could see he started okay earlier on in the month of May, and then he got roughed up towards the end of the month. And so his ERA is 15.43, but it's just 3 games where, actually it's just 1 game there where things went haywire for him. On the 27th of May, he gave up 5 runs after pitching in 2 innings. After that, he came back, struggled the next game, giving up 3 runs, and then the last game he pitched, he didn't give up a run, even though it was just for he only got 2 batters out. Again, he's got pretty good mechanics. You can see his ratings are not bad, mostly average and above average stuff, and control, and even his pitching repertoire. Nothing special, but certainly a guy who can eat up some innings when we need him to, and we're hoping he can start pitching to the level that we're expecting him to. Trevor Cahill right now, he's got an injury day to day, so he's gonna be out for at least 3 days before we can have him back in rotation there in the bullpen. So that's about it offensively. I mean, it's kind of been a poor offensive performance overall by the whole team, except for a few guys that are batting okay. So we're gonna go ahead and advance to June, where we will have a 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. And then we'll have, following that into the next week, we'll have a 2-game series with the Texas Rangers. And then we'll have another 4-game series against the Royals to finish up the following week. This month, at least upcoming month, we've got meetings with the Astros, the Angels, the Padres, the White Sox, Tigers, and then we finish off with the series against the Indians. So that's kind of how things look. Tough matchups coming up for the month of June, and we'll try to see how the team performs. Let's just go and maybe take a look at some of the changes we can do right now. So we're going to try and see if we can move some people around. We'll start with the lineups offensively. So Sheldon Neuse, you could see the star there. He's been on a slump. He's batted 178 in 79 plate appearances. We brought him up because he can play third base when Matt Chapman was struggling. He hasn't been able to play well enough to be a regular third base starter. So now that we've got Lombardozzi Jr. and Nunes, Sheldon Neuse is not as useful. So we're going to send him back down to AAA. And we're going to go down to AAA and see who's playing well that we can bring up. And we're going to do that based on WAR, is how I like to, first of all, split up people. Because of giving up an infielder, I'd like to bring back an infielder just to keep things balanced. So we'll filter this out and take a look at which infielders we can bring up. So AAA wise, Franklin Barreto is playing well in AAA. Matt Chapman has been playing well in AAA. Although when we had called him up just recently to the big leagues, he really struggles tremendously. Jorge Mateo not playing well. Sanba Pimentel not playing well. Mark Canner also not playing as well as we would hope. So not worthy of moving those guys around. I'm gonna scan around and take a look at our AA. Let's see which infielders may be ready for a chance, and a special chance at that. So Nate Mundu, looks like he's had some decent seasons here playing in single A and double A. He's going from single A in Beloit in 2017, got bumped up to Stockton Ports before the end of the year, and then he's now been playing in Midland in the Texas League here for double A. And in all those outings, he's actually performed really well. So maybe somebody we can consider. Richie Martin, he's having a good 2018 season. He's still young, Not too sure if we're ready to consider a bump for him. Similarly, Eli White has played really well. You could see he got a huge bump from Vermont Lake Monsters, our single A team, and got bumped up to Stockton Ports and then ended up in Midland in 2018. So Trace Loher, 23 years old as well. So a lot of young guys who seem to be playing well for our double A mid infield. Nothing so unique that that I'm willing to take a chance and really bump them up. So we're gonna take a look, preferably maybe at outfielders, and see if there's anything special, anybody who's really playing really well, who deserves a chance. I've had my eye out on Ramon since the beginning of the season. He's one of our top prospects. He's having a tremendous season in AAA. He plays right field, but I think he can play multiple positions, including first base, center field, and left. Anthony Garcia also is having a tremendous season in AAA in 2018. Trace Thompson. Let's take a look at Trace. So, again, another outfielder who can play all the three outfield positions and playing really well. So, I'm going to have to just go back and bring back Franklin Barreto. He's playing really well in AAA. We already brought him up earlier last month, and he struggled in 31 at-bats. 31 plate appearances. So not a lot, but he didn't show any improvement, or at least any sparks where we felt we can keep him on. So, but we're struggling right now. The team is really struggling. So I'm willing to take chances from everywhere. So we're gonna send Franklin Barreto back to the big leagues and see how that pans out for us. So, all right, now we've moved him up. We'll go back in here, and I'm gonna let my bench coach set up the lineups, and then I'll go in at each lineup and just make sure that it is set up the way I want to. And I'm not gonna disagree a lot with my bench coach. I think he's got everybody where I would preferably want them to be at. So I like that lineup. I'm not going to change that. That's perfect. Dustin Fowler leading off. This is against right-handed pitchers with DH. He's definitely got the athleticism that we want for a leadoff batter. He's got the speed and ability to steal and decent base running skills. Renato Nunez, he's seeing the ball really well, so he's making good contact. It makes sense for him to be in that number 2 spot to try and advance runners. And then we got our best hitter, Chris Davis, in the number 3 hole. Hopefully he comes in and tries to advance runners as well. Our cleanup hitter, Matt Olson, who's struggling, but we have a lot of faith and hope in him. Jonathan Lucroy started off the season well, but he's kind of gotten cold over the last few weeks. But he's still a worthy number 5 spot batter, so we'll leave him in that number 5 spot. Matt Joyce, who's been playing well, we'll leave him in that number 6 spot. And the reason is I like to have sort of decent hitters or guys who are playing well between the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. Just as the lineup starts to turn over, I like to have again guys who can lead off in the next inning and get on base at a higher rate. So if you look at his on-base percentage, .333, it's among sort of the best so far in our team. So we'll leave them there in the number 6 spot. Jet Lowry, who's kind of been struggling, but he started to pick up his game towards the end of May. He's in number 7. Piscotti in 8th spot, has been struggling of late. And then Marcus Simeon, who also has continued to struggle over the last 2 months since the season started, is in the number 9 spot. We're not going to go through the entire lineup against left-handed pitchers. It's not a whole lot different, except we switch Franklin Barreto, who comes in as a DH, compared to Matt Joyce against left-handers. Left-handed pitching, that is. And then we've got Matt Olson in the number 9 spot, possibly because he's struggling against left-handed pitching. All right, so I will set up my 7-day lineups, which is basically copy-pasting them, and we will adjust them as we go. So we've got a few interesting guys in the trading block. The one name that sticks out for me here, Nelson Cruz. I mean, you know, he's old, but he's still Nelson Cruz. The problem is we can't afford these guys, right? That's one of the issues why I'm not jumping on some of these trades. We don't have the funds to actually make some of these trades. If we take a look at our front office, we don't even have enough money for free agents. We've got $3.8 million for extensions, which is at the end of the year. We try to extend some of the contracts for guys who are about to hit free agency and so on. So it's hard for us to really be active in the trade market, because if you look at some of these guys, their contracts are just $10 million. We don't have that kind of money, for Wilson Ramos. Jose Abreu, I'm pretty sure he's got 13 mil there. Former All-Star. Nick Vincent, 2.7. Well, this is not bad. Relief pitcher. I'm wondering what would they want for him. He hasn't been pitching too bad. Let's take a look at our team and see what are we willing to give up. What are some assets that we don't mind giving up? I would probably say Kendall Graveman is somebody that I wouldn't mind trading. We're not paying him a ton of money, $2.3 million, but he's got good ratings, and I'm thinking this is somebody who can fetch possibly some decent assets for us. So this is somebody that we're gonna potentially consider trading. And what we're going to do right now is go to trade options, and we're going to put Kendall Graveman as available. So he's going to go on our trading block as somebody we're willing to trade. And so if we take a look at, let's see, make a trade, and trading block. Let's see this position players. Let's see all pitchers. He should be on here now. So okay, he hasn't gotten on there, but so when we think of needs, I think pitching is number one. If we take a look at the team's performance so far, we are pretty much in last position in almost all categories when it comes to pitching. And this is, I believe, against the American League. So if you take a look at overall pitching, we're 11th spot with a 4.85 ERA. We're in with our starters ERA 4.89, which is good for 8th. Bullpen ERA 4.79, which is good for 13th. So with only 15 teams in a league, these are not exceptional numbers. We do keep our, home runs at a very low number. and so we're second in the American League, which is good. Batting wise, offensively, same story. Batting average is among the lowest in the league. Our on base percentage also amongst the lowest. Slugging, on base plus, um, similar position. So we're we suck at almost everything right now. I hate to say that, but it is what it is. So how do we improve this team? How do we change things and turn things around? At the moment, when so many areas, when you're horrible in so many areas, it's kind of hard to um, pinpoint any one area. So, but we're gonna have to start with one thing, which I believe, if we can improve our pitching and then move on to our offense, I think we can start to see this team improve. Maybe not this year, but hopefully in the following seasons. So that's probably going to be my approach or strategy. And how do I do that? So I'm keeping track of that. When I look at my notes here, I've got starting pitching as one of my top areas to try and upgrade. We're also probably going to need to upgrade our relief pitching, and then start to look at cheap assets that we can bring in, for offense. Probably utility guys to help out when we got injuries. Maybe consider boosting up our infield, especially in third base. For outfielders, I think we're not too bad there, but we could certainly use a decent right fielder. But infield is where I think we need the most help. Second base, third base could use decent guys, and Marcus Simeon, who's playing shortstop, he's a fairly decent player. It's just that he's sort of been struggling so far over the last couple months, but I'm hoping he'll turn that around. So without any further ado, let's advance and go into the month of June. And take a look at that. We've got a rookie of the month in Renato Nunez, which is outstanding. Renato Nunez was called up earlier this year from our AAA Nashville, and just take a look at that stat line. He's had 97 plate appearances, 91 at bats. He's had 26 hits, 5 doubles, 16 RBIs. He's walked five times, stolen 22 bases. His batting average 286, on base percentage 330, slugging 538 with an OPS of 868, and his WAR is 0.6. So congratulations to this young man. He's been playing well for us. This is our player development update from our scout, and you could see some guys have improved, some guys have not. Bruce Maxwell, who's been playing well, he's definitely improved in his eye rating, which is ability to see that the types of pitches that are coming at you and be able to avoid strikeouts. Jonathan Lucroy is also improving his contact ratings. Matt Olson is regressing, unfortunately, which is disappointing. He's one of my favorites. Marcus Simeon also regressing. His power has dropped. Jake Smolinski has improved a bit at center field in defense and also his overall rating. Chris Davis, his speed has gone down, but his as well his overall potential dropped by a point to 3.0. Dustin Fowler's eye is improving. Frankie Montes also improving. So let's see. This is some of the guys in our minor leagues. They seem to be developing and improving. So again, the game is live, so players will continue to improve and develop as time goes by. So you just sometimes have to be patient. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and simulate a game against the Royals. This is our first game for the month of June. And also I should mention the draft is approaching, which is the first or second week of June. So that's going to be fun. We'll have an episode where we'll go through the draft and show you guys where we end up on the draft. So here we are. We've got a game against the Royals, and we're going to simulate this game and take a look at how we do. All right, so we lost this game. We got beat 4-1 by the Royals. Offensively, Dustin Fowler went 3 for 4. Chris Davis was 1 for 4. Matt Joyce was 1 for 4, and Jet Lowry was 2 for 4. Pitching wise, it was Sean Manai who was our starting pitcher. He pitched in 4 2/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and only 3 were earned. His ERA is now 4.21. It wasn't too bad. He had 7 strikeouts. I like that. That's really hopeful when a guy is getting strikeouts. You want to see that in your ace. Drew Hutchison had a decent game in relief. Pitched in 1 1/3 innings. Didn't give up a run. Only had actually had 1 strikeout after throwing 16 pitches. His ERA is now improved to 6. I know it's hard to say 6 is an improvement, but it is because he was at 15 point something ERA. Chris Hatcher continues to pitch well, and Yasmira Petit in relief, so they're doing pretty good for us. Dustin Fowler gets the nod as player of the game. For the Royals, notably, their catcher Salvador Perez went 1 for 4 and had 2 RBIs. Their pitcher, Willie Peralta, he pitched in 4 2/3 innings, gave up just 2 hits, no runs, gave up 3 walks and had 5 strikeouts. His ERA is 5.79. Their bullpen was fairly decent, except for a run that was given up by Brandon Mara. So that was that game. So we've continued our losing streak. All right, we'll also sim through another game. There's different ways to sim games, by the way. Typically, I've usually had a video where I show the team playing out an entire game. Sometimes I sim the games behind the scenes. This time I thought it would be interesting to just sim the games on video. You could do a weekly sim, a monthly sim, and so on and so on. But sometimes it's fun to just do this type of sim where you get to watch the immediate results. So back-to-back losses here against the Royals. Almost a similar score, 4-2, except the last time it was 4-1, I believe. Dustin Fowler again played really well. Nunez also played well. Both of them went 2 for 4. Matt Olson looks like he had a hit, and nonetheless we still lost. We had Kendall Graveman pitching. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 hits and just 1 run, so that's a good outing for Kendall Graveman. His ERA is 5.57. Yasmira Petit came in and was able to hold it down for us. But unfortunately, Daniel Colomb, he came in, pitched in 1 inning, gave up 3 runs. And that's starting to become annoying now, so we're going to have to send him back down to AAA. For the Royals, they had doubles from Whit Marysfield. Merrifield, I believe. They had a home run from Perez, and that's about it. Bartolo Colon, the old man, he pitched for the Royals and did a really good job in 8 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 of them earned. His ERA is 4.10. The reliever, Calvin Herrera, the closer, came in and closed the games, earning himself the 11th save. And the winning pitcher was obviously Colon. And Colon also got the player of the game nod there. So back-to-back losses. We got an injury announcement here. Kyle Finnegan, tendonitis. He'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks. So we're going to put Finnegan on the 7-day DL. That means we are now short of a relief pitcher in AA. So we're going to go to Stockton Ports and see who we can call up to AA. All right. So just by looking right off the bat, I like to go to the wall and just see who's performing well and deserves a call up. So Ty Dameron, he's having a good season in Advanced A. Actually, he's struggling, in Advanced A, but had a good season in Single A, where he pitched in 54 and 2/3 innings with an ERA of 2.47. His WHIP was 1.15. He played in 1 game, pitched in 4 innings in Stockton Port, and he got shellacked there. His ERA 13.50. Now, overall, though, I would say, this was probably a one-off. At least I'm hoping it was a one-off. And because he had pitched so well in Single A, had 1 game where he struggled in Advanced A. Maybe we're not going to call him up. Let's take a look at Chris Kohler, the next guy with the next best WAR. So Chris Kohler it's sort of been average in his pitching when he pitched for Beloit Single A. He got called up to Stockton Advanced A. He pitched in 1 game, 2 1/3 innings, and didn't give up any runs. So we may possibly give him a chance then. Let's send him to AA Midland. Of course, he's excited. Now that means we have a gap in the starting rotation for Advanced A, and that means we go to Beloit, which is our Single A, and take a look at who's pitching well. We need a starter that we can call up, and Jesus Luzardo, one of our top prospects. He's not had the greatest of seasons in Single A, but he's also not tremendously bad. He is a top prospect, so he will get the nod here as we send him up to Advanced A. And that means, again, we have a shortage there in Single A, so we'll go to Lower A and take a look at who. Okay, so the season hasn't started for Vermont Lake Monsters Lower A. That means that we're going to take a look at potential. So let's look at who's got the highest potential. We've got Slater Lee. I mean, I'm not looking for a closer, although Trey's been struggling. He's got good ratings, just has been struggling quite a bit when he was pitching in Advanced A. But what if we send him to just the A? Let's send him to Beloit, and we'll see how he does there. We needed a starter, but I think we have other starters that we can potentially move into that starting role and put Trey as the closer. So there you go. Oscar Travar got the starting nod, and Trey was moved into the closer role, which is his expertise. So we have taken care of that minor injury there and filled up the teams with the right players. Now we need to go back here and take a look at our own lineup. So we did bring up Franklin Barreto. We're going to have the bench coach fix him somewhere in the lineups, and that means that we're going to need to update our 7-day lineups, just in case there were some changes there. All right, so there you go. You guys got to watch what I do behind the scenes on a regular. We've simmed 2 games, lost 2 games at the start of the season, and we've called up Franklin Barreto and sent down Sheldon Noose. We were also, before I forget, actually, we also wanted to send Daniel Colomb. I talked about him at the beginning of this video, but he continues to struggle quite a bit. So I'm going to send him back down to AAA. He's just disappointing. And so we're going to go back to AAA and see who deserves. Let's change this back into stats. All right. Let's go to wall. So Daniel Gossett. Daniel Gossett pitched for us last year when he made his major league debut. Struggled in 91 and 1/3 innings pitched for Oakland. He's sort of pitched average throughout the year for Nashville, but as I mentioned, we are in a state where we need to take chances with guys now. We can't afford to be cute, so we're just gonna give we're gonna take some risks and give people opportunities to come up and see if they can make a difference for us. So we've sent down Daniel Colomb, and then in his place we've called up Daniel Gossett into the big leagues, and so we'll see how that plays out. All right, so that will be for our next video. We're going to save this game or this series, and hopefully we'll continue to play and keep making adjustments wherever needed, wherever possible. We've got the first year draft coming up June 4th. Today is June 2nd in our series. So most likely the next video will be a recap of the week, and also a video going through our draft for 2018. All right, so thanks for watching, guys, and we'll hope to see you on the next video. Thank you.